Hi everyone, welcome back to Mike on Mike. Let's check out the films that came out on Friday and see if they will pop or flop. The Mandalorian Grogu, I guess, is actually doing very well. It seems though, unfortunately, like the story sucks and all of that stuff or whatever. Does seem like people are definitely enjoying it, and it is entertaining and all that. Yeah, so it came in first place with $81 million. I think it is at 165 worldwide, so it made its money back. But man, this movie needs to do a lot. And I think Solo, I haven't really followed Star Wars in a while, whatever. But I think that Solo didn't do well or whatever. One of them, I think I don't know, whatever the last movie was or something. I think it bombed or something. Definitely flopped. Yeah, so The Mandalorian Grogu is in first place with 81 million domestic and then 165 total. Oh, wait, no, I guess it's higher. Well, it says 102 million. So, yeah, I don't know what 81 is. I think it's higher. It seems like it's higher. So, yeah, that's interesting. The Mandalorian Grogu. So yeah, it is at first place. That is pretty crazy. $81 million. I think it's more like 100 million. And then down here in sixth place is Passenger, which has made $8 million. And I guess it might actually end up popping and actually doing well because the budget is supposedly low. I'm not sure. It says 15 to 25 million, but it's made 8 million so far. So I'm not sure if it could actually end up doing well. 8 to 10 million. Then the budget might be 15 to 25. I mean, maybe being in sixth place is good. And I mean, it has 2,500 theaters, so that's interesting. And then we have I Love Boosters, which is in eighth place. And I guess it flopped with $3 million. This might do well. The budget is maybe low for it. It might be, 20 million? Well, that might not. Definitely seems possible that boosters could make 20 million and then going, but it should have made like 18 million. You know what I mean? Or whatever. And then, or something. Looks like people are liking it though. Boots Riley does it again, chaotic and brilliant. Satire that's funny and thought-provoking. Kiki Palmer carries this wild ride. I mean, it definitely, the movie looks good too. So I'm surprised that it didn't make, maybe a little bit more. But so far, I guess it flopped. And then Passenger also. And then this movie is the weird one. Corporate Retreat, which technically flopped from Aaron Fisher. Besides the money part, whatever, it's also seemingly not good, actually, which is surprising, but like it has, it has an interesting concept, for a film. So that's kind of interesting, but yeah, I guess the reality is that movie is not amazing. Here, I'll make it big so you can see all this. So Corporate Retreat right here in 10, 11, 12, 13th place, right? Yeah, so 13th place. And then, so yeah, those are all 4 films that came out on Friday. The Mandalorian Grogu popped with $100 million. And it's in first place. That's pretty cool. Passenger might be the one that could make up its money if it's good. Mandalorian Grogu seems to have no story. It's literally just like mindless, like whatever, and cuteness. They really just like put something cute in the movie and everyone's gonna go see it, and that's Grogu. I mean, that's all Star Wars has at this point, is just, they don't have any more story. They don't have, Disney doesn't want to risk anything. They just go, hey, put something cute in the movie. And it looks cool and looks whatever, and people are, confused because this does something to the character. It undermines something, or it changes something, or it ruins something from the show or whatever. People are saying that it feels like a show. Like this would have been a season of the show. And maybe they said, hey, we need a Star Wars movie. Maybe this is the one that we should make a movie. We'll capitalize on all of this stuff. We have all the props that Jon Favreau's been making. We're going to push this little merchandise thing called Grogu. It's going to be really adorable. They're going to make all their money on that. Screw risking making money from the movie. We don't want to risk that. We're going to make something that looks good. And then, anybody who says there's no story, we can just tell them that they hate Disney, and they're Republican probably, and they hate, Bob Iger. And so, which is not really fair. I mean, I don't know how hard it would have been to literally give the Mandalorian and Grogu a story or an arc or something. I mean, it could be that Grogu is an idiot through the whole movie, and then at one point he becomes, I guess it's not Yoda, right? Whatever that is, Baby Yoda. But what if, if they did that, and that is the thing, he would become Yoda. So they could literally do that maybe, or something. Or he starts talking, or he has his arc or something, you know what I mean? Or maybe the Mandalorian is supposed to kill Grogu, right? And he's going to lure him to somewhere in a trap, and then the Mandalorian becomes the good guy, or you know what I mean? Whatever. Something, that he overcomes or changes, or, and then there'll be a character thing like that in the movie. Top of all of the big action scenes and the cuteness or whatever, they'll actually have some three-dimensional substance in it if they do that, maybe just give the Mandalorian something. It turns out that a daughter that he's lost is somewhere, and he's going to go get her back or something, And then maybe the Grogu knows something the Mandalorian doesn't know, and then Grogu finally speaks and tells Mandalorian, it's a trap, right? No, whatever. Something. I don't know. And then the Mandalorian's like, what? And then he gets out of there before the thing happens, or something. I don't know. But make it like that, maybe. Or, I mean, it could be even more simpler, like somebody takes Grogu, and then Mandalorian has to get him back, or something. It could be simple. Here are the Rotten Tomatoes results. So here it is 62%, 88%. That's very interesting. The critics love it, I guess. Which, again, I mean, I don't know if that's true, because it's literally there's nothing in it. There's nothing. It's just image, I don't know. And then I Love Boosters, 92%, 73%. I don't get why, this is doing better on here, but it doesn't seem to be doing well at the box office. I don't get how that works. This percentage is good on both sides, so shouldn't that lead to a higher gross? It should be at 20 or 25 million. It should be 40 or 50 million, but and then Passenger, which I guess is actually bad. That's surprising. Wow, yeah. I mean, that's bizarre. It looks like a UFO movie, until you get up close to the poster. And then over here is Corporate Retreat, which is at 31%. Wow. It's doesn't have good reviews, which is very interesting. So yeah, now we'll check out the reviews for these films. Okay, here is the Mandalorian Grogu. It has 7.1 stars. I feel like it should not be higher. It should be a 7.8 or 9. You know what I mean? And be wow, this is you think the Mandalorian's gonna die? You think Grogu's gonna die? You know what I mean? I don't know. Or something that makes it more three-dimensional, not just, 3D glasses. This right here is the biggest issue, I think, that's so annoying. It's this Pedro Pascal, whatever you think of him, he's not even doing the character. It's like, what is that? This guy is the suit performer. Why can't Pedro Pascal just literally have an interest in this and show up and be like a method actor and actually just sit there and act like you like this thing, you know? Maybe it's a legal thing. I don't know. I don't understand that. You know, people do their own stunts. I don't know if that's a legal thing because Tom Cruise does his own stunts. I don't think it's illegal for an actor to be like, hey, you know, I'm going to do my own stunts, you know? I mean, like Pedro Pascal can beg, hey, no. I want to be in the suit. I need to be in the suit so that I am in the suit because I am the character and I should have an interest in this. You know what I mean? I mean, maybe it's, I don't know. It's just like, how busy is this Pedro Pascal? He's that busy that they said, like, he's like, hey, maybe he is busy. Maybe he's so busy that he's like, hey, John, you know, Mr. Favreau, Bob, Mr. Iger, I cannot make it onto set. I'm doing 6 movies or 5 movies, you know, and a TV show, and I just started 3 of them, and we're in the middle of the show, you know, and I'm starting 2 others, and he thought he could be there on set and be in the suit, and he can't. You know what I mean? Like maybe that's the reason. And then they said, that's okay. We have a guy named Brendan Wayne. He's going to be the suit performer. We're going to bring him in. We're going to have we're going to schedule all of your filming in a few days and the voice, sound booth work and all of that. You know, you're going to be like this guy, Steve Bloom over here playing Zeb, you know, we're going to do that. We're going to get all your stuff done. And then you'll be good. You can go do your other stuff and we'll just do everything in the editing. And then Brendan Wayne will be on set. So I don't know. And I just feel like, you know, if I understand this is a job, I get it. But, you know, can't you kind of like what you're doing? Can't you kind of be like, hey, I love Star Wars. You know, I've always wanted to play the Mandalorian, you know, like Channing Tatum and Gambit. You know what I mean? Like things like that. Like, I bet you Channing Tatum is going to say no to a stunt guy, right? Or you know what I mean? Like for the most part, it's going to be him in the costume as much as possible, you know, whatever they allow. So it's kind of funny. But we can also read this. I love this thing, the AI summary. So it has 7.1 stars. The reviewers say The Mandalorian Grogu delivers Star Wars charm with spectacular visuals and family-friendly appeal that works across the generations. The action sequences impress and the characters remain endearing. However, the film disappoints with an underdeveloped story that feels like an extended filler, sluggish pacing, especially in the final act, and committee-driven writing lacking narrative coherence. While visually polished and entertaining for younger audiences, it struggles to provide meaningful plot progression or emotional depth for invested fans. See what I'm saying? I can't believe that. No, if this is for kids, then you don't need all that other stuff. And they're literally hoping to get all the parents' money, you know, which is like, what is that? I get it. It's business, you know? They successfully got your money, you know? Cool. But come on. Like how many times are we as movie lovers are going to allow this, you know? Session is apparently going to have an amazing second weekend, right? Whatever. So this is, I mean, all those people, all the invested fans are, you know, the other percentage, you know, the kids, oh, Grogu, oh, cool, blah, blah, whatever. The other percentage of the people, you know, that could go see it again are not going to go see it again. We're not going to be honest and be like, hey, this kind of sucks. We really need to put our foot down. We're done with this. We need character. We need depth. We need 3-dimensional stuff, not just with the glasses, you know. And 4DX, whatever, all that stuff. We don't need that, you know? We need actual stories and stuff. You need actual things. I don't get it. I don't know why the bulk of the people who go and see this and go, oh my God, you know, like Star Wars, yay. Really? Really? You gotta be honest, you know? Like, you have to be honest. Like, it's fun, it's entertaining, you know, and whatever. I had fun, but it's 5 stars. You know what I mean? And you just that can't be that can't be a movie. You know, like, it has to be 3-dimensional. It has to have something that gives it this X factor. You know, that makes it like this is so sweet and amazing, or something that makes it special. You know. But yeah, now we will read the reviews for this. So there are 644 reviews. Not as much as the Project Hail Mary, which has like 3,000 or 2,000 or whatever, which is crazy. A crazy amount. So first review here is 7 out of 10. Maybe it's me. That's so funny. See, now this seems like it's going to be honest. You know, 7 out of 10. Yes, it was fun, entertaining, you know. So, but whatever. It's like, you know, the people who just can't be honest. I don't understand that. Just like, you know, like, I'm honest about Man of Steel. You know, like, Man of Steel was cool, but there's a lot of issues. You know, Justice League, you know, it's cool. I love that movie, but there's some issues, you know. Yeah, this says, I can't put my finger on it. This movie is okay. It's fun for the most part. It has action. It focuses on Mando and Grogu, which is a plus after this show becoming increasingly about other characters. Oh, wow. Still, something is off, in my opinion. I don't want to bash this movie. It doesn't deserve that. I think most fans will find it enjoyable. I don't feel like I wasted my money, but I just don't feel the same about this as I did about Star Wars growing up. Now, that's interesting. The originals felt lived in. The environments felt real and gritty and old. Overuse of CGI just makes everything feel clean and sterile and fake. The prequels had this problem about the world building, but the world building seemed so much better. The characters seemed so much better. During the originals, I felt like I was in another galaxy. During the prequels, I felt like I was with only a few things that took me out of the immersion. These new Disney live-action shows and movies just feel like I'm on a movie set or watching a video game being played. Villains are weak, seem like politicians straight out of the hair and makeup trailer. I liked Zeb and Embo. That they were pretty cool. It was fun seeing Rata grown up, if not a little weird. Never imagined Hut's this mobile. Yeah, you know, that's funny. The further we go, we're gonna find out, like, how does Darth Vader make his costume? You know, they're gonna 3D print it and show it. You know what I mean? They're gonna go to the factory and be like, "Is Lord Vader's costume ready yet?" You know, and they're like, "Almost, sir. We're making the gloves, whatever. We're making this thing, this with buttons that he can talk to, whatever. You know, it's gonna make him sound like this guy, James Earl Jones." And they're like, "Really?" Like, all right, well, who's that? Like, I don't know, some guy. One complaint I do have is, can we please quit with this new thing of aliens speaking in perfect English? That's pretty hilarious. Having every species speak in their native tongue is so much more better and much more realistic. It's like watching live action Simba speaking. It's weird. Yeah, that whole scene, my brother, whatever, that's so weird. Things that work in animation don't always work in live action. The only Disney Star Wars movies that felt like Star Wars Star Wars to me is Rogue One. The TV shows are a mixed bag and the animated shows shine. Starting to think all future Star Wars should be animated. I could personally do without Grogu. He has no character development. Yes, that is insane. He can't be a baby forever. Jesus Christ. That's so weird. I wish he had left with Luke and never come back, but merchandise, you know? Yes, exactly. Mando would be such a better character if he was much more like what I always envisioned Boba Fett would be like. This movie was a step back in that direction, but it didn't blow me away. For the kids, mostly and young at heart. Maybe I'm just but the target audience anymore. I think that's what like Zack Snyder tried to do with Rebel Moon. He tried to make like an adult Star Wars. You know, maybe that's what he was thinking. He's like, well, everybody who loves Star Wars probably grew up, right? And now we can cuss and see blood and boobs. You know what I mean? So maybe that's, that reasoning. But yeah, I mean, I think a big thing of this is like, I mean, the fans that grew up with this stuff have stuff, and maybe, yeah, it's like Disney is moving on from the fans that grew up with this stuff. They're saying, hey, we can't come up with anything good for you anymore. You guys are not falling for all of our cute stuff. So we got to leave you guys behind. Sorry, screw off, go watch Star Wars, the original series, and go watch all 6 of those movies. That's all. That's it. You're not getting anything else. Get out of here, Star Wars is for the kids now, literally for the kids. We're not giving you anything else for you vintage fans. You're done. Star Wars is no more for you, I mean, it's also the fact that like the company hates you. Pedro Pascal hates you, Disney, they hate you, They would like to make Pedro Pascal like Mandalorian black if they could, but they can't because the helmet probably, and people love Pedro Pascal, even though he's white, right? Technically, he's light-skinned, he's Hispanic or whatever, right? But he's white, he's light-skinned, so that's kind of funny. But anyway, next one is 2 out of 10. The worst things at season 3. Watched this today and it's bad. I love Star Wars since I was very young, and seasons 1 and 2 of the show were amazing, but this film I almost walked out of. I watched the first 10 minutes and left. Trust me, this is just a CGI mess of nothing worth your time. I'm so sad about this. As I said, I used to love Star Wars, but I think I'm truly done with it now. Well, that's good. I mean, I don't know if you needed a $150 million nail in a coffin to tell you that you're done with Star Wars. Because if you didn't know that you're done with Star Wars, well, guess what? You are. The company is here to tell you you're done. We don't want you. We don't want you to watch our movies anymore. Bob, John, and Kathleen sat down and said, hey, what are we going to do with the old fans? What old fans? They're done. They're out. We're selling things to kids, whatever that means. But literally, seriously, like they made that choice. They sat down and said, hey, we're going to do with the 70% of the fans that grew up with this whole thing. We're going to swap it. We're going to swap these percentages so it's 70% kids are watching this stuff. We don't want any fans. Are we still including the scene where the Mandalorian looks at the camera and says, hey, any of you fans that grew up with this series and, you're out of here, and flip off the camera. Are we including that in the movie or no? Like, no. We're, Jon Favreau doesn't want that in the movie, so we're going to cut that scene out. But it is going to be included in the DVD box set. So, later on that's where the message for the fans will be. The fans that made Star Wars what it is. That's what you get in the end. So sad. I don't know. I mean, it's like, I'm surprised that these are even on here, Bob Iger could call up, Jeff Bezos, who owns this IMDb, and say, hey, take that guy, Splinter's 34951's review off. It's making us look bad. And then the one under it, Commander Cody 304571 whatever, take his review out of here too. He gave us a two stars. And but he did confirm what we said. He's done with Star Wars. So the plan is working. We're getting rid of the old fans. Keep going. We're gonna make a Mandalorian Grogu 2 then. We're gonna greenlight the script right now. You know, Jon Favreau, go start filming Mandalorian Grogu 2 right now, and we're gonna further, you know, get rid of these fans. We're gonna totally sever our relationship with them. I mean, you know they're having those talks. You know that's part of the meeting. So when a 6 out of 10 was okay, nothing spectacular, but okay. They packed a lot into this film. It was longer than I expected. In some scenes, it was definitely drawn out a bit. Clearly trying to appeal to all ages, which of course it has to as a Disney film. I love this series, but you get longer to understand the story. There is a lot of CGI. There are whole chunks of time that pass without anyone alive being on the screen. It's for sure more about CGI monsters than spacecraft and technology. Now that's weird. Yeah, that's stupid. In a sci-fi movie, it's more about it's more of a fantasy. That's strange. Enjoyable for sure. I do wonder how much Pedro Pascal was actually in it. Like I said, probably not. He's probably got a lot of stuff going on. They probably did his scenes. They probably did his sound booth work, and then he got out of there because that other guy is a stand-in. So, and then he takes his mask off once, so the rest could have been anyone, and in some cases, it was for sure CGI. So there's a scene without Mandalorian, without the helmet, and it's Pedro Pascal, and it's like the body double, but the CGI, you know, that's interesting. This guy gave it 2 out of 10. Filler episode turned into a movie. That's my theory. I'm pretty sure they said, hey, we need a movie. And the Mandalorian and Grogu is kind of hot. And then we could and we have a season already there. Let's just make it into a movie, and then we're doing that. You know, that had to have been the plan. This guy says it was a complete standalone story that did nothing to further any of the cliffhangers that The Mandalorian, The Book of Boba Fett, and Ahsoka left off on years ago. It could have at least redeemed itself with an end credits scene showing another season of any of those 3 shows. See, now that's funny. Lots of action scenes, which would have been cool if they had any depth or any immersive story to make it feel like the battles were worth watching. This is the only Star Wars movie that I've ever considered leaving the movie theater while walking. But what kept me there was what brought me there in the first place, and that was the desire to know what's going on in that part of the Star Wars universe. And I was very disappointed that this movie did nothing to further the storyline created by the shows. See, this must be some type of fallout from Marvel and their TV shows, which, you know, same company. And they said, hey, we're cutting back on all the shows. We're doing 3 movies a year again. And this must have been all part of that. And they said, what about everybody who watched the shows? And they said, you know, or something. And they said, screw them too. They're part of the 70% also. the new fans and the old fans. Screw them all. We're only after the kids here with this Grogu thing, you know? So I don't get it. That's so weird. That's unfortunate, but yeah. Anyway, I'll just read a few more here. 10 out of 10. Thank you, Jon Favreau. Wow. Okay, you know what? I'm going to read this one because that's insane. Let's see. I went there with high expectations as a fan of the Mandalorian TV series, and the movie lived up to my expectations. Really? This has to be fake. I knew it would be a great movie from how it started. Oh, really? Mando was meant for the big screen. Yeah, the character is. Just give him a story. I don't understand that. It's a fun, family, action-packed comedic movie. Really? Oh, really? I enjoyed it so much with my daughter since we both watched the series together. The story is really good and all the scenes were beautiful. Again, the action was really, really good. Jon Favreau, if there is 1%, you see my review, I want to say thank you for your bravery and creativity, whether when you started all with Iron Man or making the Mandalorian series, ending with this great movie. If you love Star Wars Rogue One, then you will love this one as well. Disney give Jon Favreau the lead to Star Wars and Marvel to the new and Marvel to the level of the fans' huge expectations. I believe he could give us a Daredevil and the Punisher movies that we deserve. No, he's going to take all the story away, and it's going to look really cool and stuff, you know? The Daredevil won't talk much. Punisher won't talk much. It'll be, you know, the Punisher season 3 and then Daredevil season 4 or 5, whatever they're at, condensed down into a movie. And it'll be the same thing, you know? And I don't know. And then if they have cameos in it, it's going to be 2 cameo whatever. It's going to be nostalgia bait. And then it's just, I don't know. I think it's very strange. They almost lose in every single way they go. Next one is 8 out of 10. Honestly, very solid. 7 out of 10 extended TV show. 6 out of 10 fun for fans of the series, but it doesn't really stand out within the Star Wars movie universe. 9 out of 10 great Star Wars. Spoiler. 10 out of 10 go see this movie. Don't listen to the critics. Yeah, but if you are tight on your money, you're definitely going to be listening to someone. This is a family-friendly movie that you can see regardless of seeing the TV series. Yeah, I think that's true, which is probably part of the reason is that they screw the fans of the show. The 2 hours flew by and it was so entertaining. It had great visuals, an amazing score, and a story that didn't preach anything. Well, I'm not sure what people wanted from this movie to cause so much hate. Just go to the movie and enjoy. I agree. But if you leave not caring about the characters, I think there is an issue. I mean, I don't get it. You know, like Mandalorian, he could afford to lose an arm, you know, to get rid of the theory of plot armor, to make you care about the character. You know, maybe he loses an arm and a leg and he continues to still fight, you know, and you go, wow, what a tough character. Then the Rotten Tomatoes for this film have it at 62% from the critics, which is interesting. And then whatever it said, 88% for the audience. The critics' consensus, bountiful in action but threadbare in narrative thrust with its episodic structure, this Star Wars is more of a skirmish that coasts on the charm of its central dynamic duo. Wow, even the consensus is honest. I don't understand. I don't think this is going to do well in the next weekend. If, you know, it's just going to be traded. All the fans, all the people who said, you know, I had to work overtime this weekend, I can't see this movie. And then they're going to go, you know, get the text from their friend saying, hey, it sucks, don't see it. And they're like, what? You know? And then they're going to make it's more for kids. And then all of the, you know, the mentions to people, they're going to make, hey, you know, they're going to tell their friends, hey, take your kids to go see it. So instead of these adults going to go see it, all the kids are going to go see it. And hopefully it's enough, but I mean, I don't know. Then it's going to come down to the parents who go, yeah, we don't have money to waste on this crap, you know. Who knows? Or they're going to be like, hey, I already bought you I already bought you a Grogu doll. I already told you, the movie or the doll, you know, which is going to last longer, you know? And they said, well, all right. You know, do you want a digital movie or do you want a physical Grogu doll? And the kid stupidly picked the doll, should have go picked the movie and said, hey, this sucks. We're not buying the doll. Good thing we didn't buy the doll. You know what I mean? Critics' reviews. Donald Clark from Irish Times gave it 3 out of 5 tomatoes, saying the film ultimately amounts to not much more than an empty distraction of the old school. That is not altogether a bad thing. Well, I think it is. Peter Travers, the Travers Take, gave it 2.5 out of 4 tomatoes. Not even 5. Jesus. Not out of 10. This should have been out of 5. This one-shot movie, of a scrap Disney TV series slides by on the indisputable sweetness of Baby Yoda and Pedro Pascal. He's not indisputable sweetness. As his helmet head daddy. The rest is faking it. Well, thank you, Peter Travers, for being honest. That's hilarious. That's great. See, I guess some of these people have a reputation, and if it turns out that they got paid off from Disney to say something good, that's going to ruin this guy's thing, and I don't think this guy wants that. So he's being honest. Yeah, that's terrible. Mark Kermode from Kermode and Mayo's Take gave it a tomato, saying, I didn't mind it. I didn't hate it. I liked bites of it. All right. Let's see. Michael Ward from Should I See It? No, you shouldn't. I gave it 2.5 out of 5 tomatoes, or splats, whatever. See, at least he did out of 5. He said serviceable, safe, and narratively thin. Yeah, kids movie. Marlon Wallace, The M Report, gave it a splat, saying the majority of the film is watching Mando doing kick-ass action. Aside from that one sequence with Grogu, Mando is almost unstoppable. I wish more would have been made between the eventual battle between Mando and Embo. Man, the battle should have been between Mando and Grogu. And Grogu kills Mandalorian or something. And then the evil Yoda comes out and goes, come to the dark side, whatever, Grogu. And then you see an evil Grogu. That would be kind of cool. And then there would be a cliffhanger, and then we'd want to see the sequel, right? That would have been a good twist. Grogu kills Mandalorian, and then becomes a Sith Lord, whatever, and that, whatever, Star Wars stuff. Tim Brandon from About Boulder gave it a splat, saying, I wish for a lot of things. Decent leaders, a high-trust society. Right this minute, I wish for a Star Wars movie that I care about. Wow, that's really hilarious. And then down here, audience reviews. Tiff gave it 5 stars, of course. I love Grogu. What a fantastic movie. Yes, yeah, that is the most important part. Yeah. Paul gave it 5 stars, saying so much fun. Glad I saw it in IMAX 3D. Yeah, they are too. Yeah, they're happy. Diane gave it 5 stars, saying enjoyed this movie very much. Jonathan Marvin gave it 5 stars. Wow, you guys bots. My family and friends all love this movie. Great action as well as great character development for Rata the Hutt. What? It's not even That's so stupid. Jenny N gave it 5 stars, saying pure dessert. What? Action, banter, and Grogu adorableness. Jesus Christ. Alan gave it 5 stars, saying, been a Star Wars fan since the early 80s. I love the movies and series. Okay, so how are you different from that other guy who grew up with Star Wars? Well, you're just not being honest. The other guy is at least being honest. Okay, so that is everything for the Mandalorian Grogu. It looks like, I don't know. We'll see in the next weekend what the reality is. If this movie really is sticking around, that's going to be crazy. This could probably end up with 7.0, 6.9 stars in the end. I don't know. Yeah, maybe, Jeff Bezos is doing a favor for Bob, John, Dave, Noah, and Kathleen, and said, hey, I will, I'll up that review for you on IMDb and help you out, make you look better. I don't know, because, yeah, it's kind of weird. And it's 2 hours and 12 minutes. Jesus. I don't know, that might be a good enough time. People are saying it's too long. It should have been like an hour and 50 minutes, maybe. Hour 45, maybe. Oh, yeah, surprisingly, so far, the Mandalorian Grogu has popped with 100 million, I guess, domestic, 165 worldwide. Pretty interesting. We'll see how it does in the next weekend. And it surprisingly, amazingly came in first place. And the next film is Passenger. Pretty interesting. An hour and 34 minutes. Not a bad runtime. So, yeah, we can go here. And, it's at 5.6 stars. That's pretty interesting. And so far it has made $8 million. Definitely flopped. Not off to a great start. The AI review or summary is reviewers say Passengers excels in creating a moody, suspenseful atmosphere with effective horror craft that builds tension and discomfort. Strong atmospheric elements and creepy night scenes impress many viewers. However, the film disappoints with derivative content, relying heavily on typical horror cliches, unoriginal storytelling, and weak writing featuring corny dialogue, pacing issues, and mixed performances further divide audiences. While some found it engaging and entertaining, others considered it forgettable, making it a polarizing experience for horror fans. That's very interesting. So 64 reviews, 6 out of 10. It's not that bad. I nearly canceled cinema tickets the day did the reviews, but went with it anyway, and I'm glad I did. Wow. Everyone was saying they were tricked by the trailer. What did they expect? A whole film on a dark lane with a menacing man waiting around every corner for 90 minutes? Yeah, that's funny. I mean, the trailer kind of showed... It didn't trick you. It didn't show you the twist or whatever and spoil it like other trailers do. The film does have a few daft bits, like her dropping the ring, but nowhere as many as I expected from the reviews. Main blessing, there's not too much screaming and it's not really depressing, but I find most horrors are these days. What I find most horrors are these days. Instead, it was a tiny bit creepy and entertained me for 90 minutes. And 4 out of 10, the worst horror movie since last year's Sinners. That's hilarious. I saw Obsession last week, and I guess that movie raised the bar so high for horror films. Wow, that's funny. That anything that I see this year is going to be subpar by comparison. I mean, it's like having an expensive steak one week and then having to eat leftover ground beef the next. Obsession was the expensive steak, and this movie was the old ground beef. If you see both, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. The acting was bad for the most part. The script was neither clever nor well written. It wasn't scary at all, and the other times I felt anything were with many jump scares that denote bad horror films to begin with. The first 10 minutes of the movie really well done and set the stage for what could have been a brutal thrill ride from start to finish. What we do get is the two of the most unlikable leads in recent memory, the sappy love story, and scene after scene of people being scared instead of anything scary actually happening. I would rather have gone and seen Obsession again than had wasted my time with this movie. It's one of the rare times I wish I would have listened to the reviews and not even have bothered. What a miserable waste of potential. Jesus. 4 out of 10, forgettable and surprisingly cheap feeling. Spoiler. 8 out of 10 on the jump scares. I haven't had jump scares so good in a very long time. How about 0 jump scares? Give up on that trope for horror movies. The concept itself is not 100% fresh, but the message behind it is definitely strong. I really enjoyed the movie until we saw the monster's face up close. I don't know why, but the fact that I couldn't see it 100% the first half of the movie was much more scarier. Wow. It's not 100% solid, but I can recommend watching it for sure. Somebody either wanted the actor to be seen, or the actor wanted to be seen, or the makeup department wanted their work to be seen, or the writer-director did say, hey, we're going to show the monster's face up close at the end, or whatever. Even though they shouldn't have... basically for those reasons to show off the makeup, something like that, to give them all the credit, whatever. It's not 100% solid, but I can recommend watching it for sure. 6 out of 10, decent, but released at a bad time. I thought it was I thought it was good, and I was engaged the whole time, but the ending was bad, which it drops its rating for me. It also didn't help that it was released a week after Obsession. Wow, they really said there's no way another horror movie is going to be good, so they said it doesn't matter. And just the chance that Obsession is really good, darn. So I think horror expectations were high because of that. Yeah. The less it was still an enjoyable watch, in my opinion. 7 out of 10, don't listen to the bad reviews, it's good. I don't understand why people are complaining about this movie. I watched it and watched Obsession. Guess which one I liked more? I like this one better. There is just something sinister and terrifying about traveling dark roads. I really like this one. Timed jump scares quite stressful and will catch you off guard. Yeah, but I think that Obsession is actually kind of like, like kind of new feeling or whatever. 9 out of 10, one of my new favorites. 1 out of 10, the trailer is better than the actual movie. 1 out of 10, Passenger takes Stinker to another level. 5 out of 10, much potential, unfortunate issues, and one big bizarre swerve. Out of 10, Passenger is scary as hell. It's scary hell as hell. Okay. 4 out of 10, nothing special. 5 out of 10 on the road. 5 out of 10, this is good for passing the time. And 4 out of 10, average at best. That is really unfortunate. And the Rotten Tomatoes for Passenger have it at 44% from the critics and 54% from the audience. That's pretty sad. Critics' consensus says, a stylish ride weighed down by the litany of cliches it picks up along the way. Passenger drives in circles, but has some memorable bumps and jolts during the journey. Okay, so maybe what they're saying is that, yeah, I mean, I hate jump scares, but they're just done well, or they're I don't know. Maybe one of them doesn't have it and catches you off guard, and then, you know, you think there's going to be something, and then you're relieved, and then the camera turns, and there's the jump scare, you know, right? Or something like that. So that could be that. 6 reviews. Peter Sobzinski from RogerEbert.com gave it 3.5 out of 4 stars. Again, I don't know. Why is it not a standard of 5? 5 stars, you know, or 10? He said, it is a fairly solid bit of genre craft work that is a lot more impressive than its desultory release might suggest. Robert Abel from LA Times gave it a splat, saying it's the genre equivalent of an airbag that deploys already half deflated. Jesus, speaking from experience. Jacob Aller from AV Club gave it a C splat, saying Andre Overdahl continues assembling eerie images, but supports them with the goofiest tale this side of a campfire. Andrew Parker from The Gate gave it 3 out of 10 splats. See, that's a little bit more standard. Saying with so many better horror movie options out there at the moment, it's hard to justify taking a road trip to see this. And then Yigraine Hackett Cantabrana from What a Scream podcast gave it 2.5 out of 5. See, out of 5 splats. Saying with a subject matter that whilst interesting in theory, in practice, it fails to produce anything other than a horror movie, which is completely middle of the road when it comes to its plot and its scares. Christian Gregg from In Review Online gave it a tomato, saying shallow design isn't quick enough to sink Passenger. You could do worse for cheap thrills. And then the audience reviews, Dominic T gave it 5 stars, saying it was a great movie with a surprisingly good ending. C gave it 4 stars, saying fun movie with some great jump scares. Felt a little bit rushed, but entertaining anyway. And then Sarah gave it a half a star, saying slow jump scares were meh and boring. Kermit gave it 4 stars, saying the movie kept wanting to know what was going on. A good suspense storytelling, good atmospheric energy, something, whatever. And then Shailene gave it 2 stars, saying it was a little cliche. And then Nicholas G gave it 3.5 stars, saying jump scares were decent. The acting was good. Okay, so overall, Passenger seems to be a little bit mixed. I think that, yes, unfortunately, it is being overshadowed by Obsession, which is happening and to turn out to be a very good horror movie. That's pretty hilarious. This, I don't know if it's going to be able to make up its money. And if it is $15 to $25 million budget, I don't know, possibly. This just has to be better than, I don't know, maybe Lee Cronin's The Mummy. I don't know if The Bride is technically considered a horror movie or not, but so yeah, I don't know. But if Obsession is going to set the bar now, that's great. All the movies that are going to come out in October are screwed, right? Or whatever. All the new horror movies that are coming out are not going to do, they're all going to be compared to Obsession. So that's unfortunate, but that's good because Curry Barker is now, shaking up the horror industry. So now everybody has to really, really focus and put an effort into making a good horror movie. So hopefully this carries on to future movies. The other one, I kind of liked Whistle, honestly. I thought Whistle was pretty pretty fun. You know, it wasn't bad. They're aware of what's going on, and then like it's done a little bit differently. You know, like I kind of like that Whistle movie. I don't know if Cold Storage is a horror movie, but that was kind of fun. Yeah. Anyways, Passenger. It might pop, but so far it has flopped with $8 million out of a possible $15 to $25 million budget, so maybe $20 million. You will see if maybe in the next weekend, you know, maybe I think people are going to go see Obsession over this. You know, that means all of these movies are going to drop way off. But it actually surprisingly did come in 6th place. Okay, the next film is I Love Boosters. This is the Boots Riley film. It is rated R, and it is at 1 hour and 45 minutes. It, I guess, technically flopped with $3 million. The budget might be $20 million. It's in 8th place. I don't know if it's gonna, you know, have any good luck, whatever, and then, you know, turn out good. It should have made maybe 15 or 20, I think, you know, and then it doesn't have to totally rely on the second weekend. Oh, yeah. Let's check this movie out. We'll read some reviews. It is at a 7.2, so very interesting. I don't think it had many theaters, though. Let's see here for I Love Boosters. Is at 1,750 theaters. Possibly. No, maybe that like affected it. I don't know if it got like 3,000 theaters or 4 or whatever. I don't know how much better it would have performed. So down here is the AI summary. Reviewers say, I Love Boosters dazzles with stunning cinematography, spectacular costume design, and exceptional performances, particularly from Keke Palmer, Will Poulter, and Poppy Liu. Boots Riley's bold directorial vision and sharp social commentary on capitalism resonate powerfully. However, the film divides audiences with its surreal, hallucinogenic elements that some find captivating while others struggle to follow. The overstuffed script and inconsistent humor disappointed some, expecting a straightforward comedy, making it a polarizing experience requiring the right mindset. Jesus, this seems like... hallucinogenic elements, like what? The big bright colors, or are they doing drugs in the movie, like acid and stuff, and like they're, you know, they're high and they're, you know, like that, or what? Because up at the top, it even has it labeled as a sci-fi adventure comedy crime drama, right? Which is what it looks like, and then sci-fi, like there's teleportation in it, there's aliens and stuff. What? How could this movie be labeled as sci-fi? What in it would be sci-fi? Do they steal, like, you know, alien technology? Do they have an alien, like a UFO that they're flying around in or something? Like, I don't understand that. Do they have ray guns? You know, do they have powers maybe? So 72 reviews, 9 out of 10 stars. One of the craziest comedies I have seen. Corvette, Sade, and Mariah make up the Velvet Gang, a group of boosters who shoplift from a Metro Design store and then sell the clothes themselves for 1/3 of the price. Metro Design is a chain of fashion stores run by fashion maven Christy Smith, who insults the gang as low-class urban B-words. As the trio continue to shoplift from Metro Design, they start to uncover much more sinister intentions and secrets as they recruit another member. So what? Maybe it's like, what's that movie called? Bugonia, that film. Is that what it's saying? Like, it's hinting at something, and then all of a sudden it turns out that Christy Smith, the owner of Metro Design, is an alien, and she's trying to get money to get her teleportation machine working, or her UFO, like District 9, and trying to leave Earth? Like, I don't know. Not Since Everything Everywhere All at Once has a movie left me stunning for being so crazy. The best way to describe I Love Boosters is that it is like an Ocean's movie mixed with Looney Tunes comedy. That's cool. Dr. Seuss visuals and sci-fi elements. There you go. Sci-fi elements. only a madman like Boots Riley could write and direct something like this, and I love nearly every minute of it. That is hilarious. Like, I thought that movie, Francis Ford Coppola's Megalopolis, I thought it was really entertaining, you know, for how weird it is. Think about it, like, accept the movie for how it is, and you're like, wow, like, this is bizarre. Like, it was bad, whatever, right? But it's pretty entertaining. But, I mean, you know, like, that's what this is making it seem like. Because even that has some, not sci-fi, fantasy stuff, right? What makes Isle of Booster so crazy to watch is that it is straight unpredictable with how it handles its twists. There are so many times the movie has a reveal, and my jaw dropped. It starts out as a wacky crime comedy, and it keeps that tone. But it slowly delves into other genres you would not expect in a heist movie. There is a machine in this movie that you would expect from a sci-fi movie that fits well with the rest of the story, like a teleportation machine. There are supernatural elements that come out of nowhere, which almost feel horror, and none of that can make you predict what happens in the third act. This movie is the perfect kind of weird because there is nothing like it, and yet all of these elements are handled beautifully to tell a unique heist story. What about, like, that movie with Sam Rockwell that just came out? Good Luck, Have Fun, Don't Die? Is it like that? With, like, the cat, whatever. Well, I don't want to ruin it, but if you saw that movie, it's pretty hilarious. It's a cat deity or whatever it was. What was it called? Something. The thing that helps is that the tone of the movie never changes. This is a wacky comedy from beginning to end. Boots Riley never forgets to play up the humor here. The humor in this movie is hilarious, filled with absurd scenarios happening, slapstick comedy for adults, and poking fun at the fashion industry's over-the-top nature in a light-hearted way. Was laughing pretty hard for the most part, with even some simple lines of dialogue getting laughs out of me. This is easily the funniest movie of the year so far. Beneath all of the crazy twists, silly humor, and over-the-top visuals, the movie is about bringing all kinds of people together who suffer from the corporations and the executives. In this movie, there are a lot of people who are against Metro design, but for different reasons. Corvette has a hard time working for others outside of the Velvet Gang because she wants to focus on her goals, but this shows how she pushes others away when they could be allies. Boots Riley emphasizes how it is important for all sides of the people who were wronged to come together and take down the big bad. It works well for the movie, and it comes off as inspiring in a film full of madness. The cast goes full on here too. Keke Palmer as Corvette has a lot of charisma, as she always does, though her characters here is a bit more serious than her other roles. Palmer knocks any scene out of the park, whether it is comedy, drama, or a bit of both. Palmer shows why she is a fantastic leading woman. Naomi Ackie is energetic and fun as Sade, and she makes for a great friend for Corvette, who sticks by her but is willing to call her out. Taylor Page as Mariah is great to see, as she adds a very fun dynamic to the Velvet Gang. These three women have a fantastic and fun dynamic which make them a treat to watch and root for. The supporting cast is fantastic too. Poppy Liu is awesome as Jianu, as she is sweet and spicy in the role, and she has great chemistry with the Velvet Gang. Eiza Gonzalez is solid as Violetta, and I really like how much her character helps out with the Velvet Gang despite her not being a member. Will Poulter is hilarious as Grayson. I wish he was in the movie a little longer, because Poulter plays as the polite but ruthless boss so well. Lakeith Stanfield is very good as a pinky ring guy who ends up being one of the craziest characters in the movie full of crazy characters. Demi Moore as Chrissy Smith is really good at playing as a fashion maven who preaches about art and what people want, but she is really another corrupt villain that makes employees' lives miserable. She is not the most unique villain, but Moore does an excellent job playing as her. Don Cheadle is in a small role, but I did not even recognize him. He did a great job with the movie role, with the role he had. The cast is excellent, and everyone seems like they are having a blast with this movie. Then there are the visuals. There have been a lot of movies lately that lacks bright colors, regardless of what genre they are in. I Love Boosters goes all out with color. Have ever wondered what an adult Dr. Seuss book would look like? Look no further than this. Every scene, even ones in factories, are full of color, and there are a lot of shots full of bright colors. And I could not stop looking at all of the costumes and colors surrounding the film. The cinematography by Natasha Breyer is gorgeous, not just full of color, but of really cool and interesting shots showcasing the movie's insanity. The costume designs are out of this world, as each costume in this movie is creative and fun to look at. The set designs are elaborate and creative and play into the colorful world of this movie. There are even action scenes in this movie, and they are incredibly entertaining to watch. There is one car chase that I found very funny to watch. Every visual in this movie has amazing attention to detail, which helps create one of the most colorful and creative worlds in a movie I have seen in a while. The musical score by Tune Yards is awesome too. There are so many memorable tunes, especially the main theme, Hi Ho. I could listen to that quirky piece of music all day. There are some great song choices throughout the film, too, which help make the soundtrack in this movie very memorable. I Love Boosters is an awesome heist thriller full of comedy, color, and craziness. I don't think the movie will appeal to everyone, but for someone like me who loves these kind of weird genre mashups, this was cinema heaven for me. I cannot wait to see what Boots Riley does next, because he has got to be one of the most imaginative filmmakers working today. Wow, that is really interesting. You know, they should do stuff like, you know, how musicians, you know, for music, you know, do like, you know, an artist featuring someone. They should do like the, you know, Boots Riley, you know, featuring, whatever, Guy Ritchie or something, or Tarantino, you know, or Tarantino featuring Guy Ritchie, and, you know, Guy Ritchie wrote the dinner scene. He did the whole dinner scene within the Tarantino film. You know, that would be kind of cool. And then you could get more like collaborations between people. I mean, just imagine like you know, combining two styles together or something would be a lot of fun in a way. 10 out of 10, hilarious, whimsical, and informative. Cast was great, costumes were great. The style and use of optical illusions was excellent. Demi Moore played her role a little too well, but overall it was a great critique on the fashion industry and that fashion is political. Loved seeing the sweatshop representation and letting their voices be heard. It was whimsy and fun, and the film industry needs more of that. Also, Corvette was relatable and had a lot of character growth. Boots Riley does it best. Yeah, it seems like it's going to be one of those movies critiquing, you know, capitalism, yet this guy is capitalizing off of this movie to make money, you know, and it's more rich than the editors, you know. So it's kind of funny that people, like, when they go to make a movie like that, it's like, you know, oh, we hate capitalism. Well, guess what? You're an actor in a movie that is capitalizing. So, you know, like, it's kind of weird. A 7 out of 10, not the trailer. I went into I Love Boosters without reading or watching any reviews. As the movie unfolded, I kept thinking to myself, this is completely bonkers and I'm here for it. In all honesty, I don't think anyone could aptly review this movie filled with positive affirmations, corporate greed, soul-sucking demons. That might be the sci-fi part. Well, no, that's more fantasy, though. Isn't it? Maybe they have this in there. Squatting in 100K suits. So I'm going to end my review right here. And then this one, 2 out of 10 stars, disappointed. It was good for the first 10 to 15 minutes. Sucked the rest of the movie. It was supposed to be a comedy. It lacked in that mostly too. When hard-earned money is paid, give the viewers more. There are several notable actors, but a pretty lame script. I would not and will not recommend this movie to anyone. How is that possible? This guy must not have liked it personally. When something is not liked, you know, it'll be general. Like, you'll feel it. And, I mean, this seems like people, like, genuinely like it. So, you know, anyway, I'm going to end these reviews here. And check out these Rotten Tomatoes reviews for it. 92% from the critics, certified fresh. And then 73% from the audience, saying that is good, I guess. Its consensus, a raucous capitalist critique. I Love Boosters careens through the carefully controlled chaos of writer-director Boots Riley's imagination to deliver a comedy that's as funny as it is thought-provoking. Reviews. Peter Travers, again, from the Travers Take, give it 3 out of 4 tomatoes, saying it's Keke Palmer versus Demi Moore in a fashion smackdown from radically funny director Boots Riley, who steals laughs from places you never thought you'd find them. Lindsay Barr from Associated Press gave it 2.5 out of 4 tomatoes, saying it is a crime that this is only Riley's second produced movie. Thought it might not reach the crackling heights of his debut. Sorry to bother you. His imagination is still on fire. Never seen Sorry to Bother You, so maybe I could check that out. Moira McDonald from Seattle Times gave it 3.5 out of 4 tomatoes. Everyone gives it out of 4. Saying, here's hoping for a sequel. This charismatic quartet may well have another adventure up their very stylish sleeves. Mike McGranahan from IOC gave it 3.5 out of 4 tomatoes, saying it sort of defies description, but that unrestrained quality is what makes it enthralling to watch. Sean P. Means from the movie Cricket gave it 3.5 out of 4 tomatoes, saying a feverishly funny satire of fashion and late-stage capitalism that makes the Daniels Everything Everywhere All at Once look like a neo-realist drama. That's interesting. Brookie Obi from Black Girl Watching gave it a tomato, saying, laugh out loud film will literally go off the rails. Think Baps plus Blade Runner and the collage art of Micheline Thomas and claymation. Okay, hanging on and enjoy the riotous, liberating ride. The audience reviews. Frederick gave it 5 stars, saying refreshingly original. Shelley gave it a half a star, saying this movie is all over the place. I couldn't follow it, other than the fact they steal clothes. Not my kind of movie. Drew gave it 5 stars, saying I liked all the surrealism, nuanced and off the wall. I expected nothing less. And then Anita T gave it 3 stars, saying good storyline, but wasn't as funny as I thought it was going to be. Save your money, watch it at home. And that's good there, so yeah. So I Love Boosters in the end. I guess it says it might pop, but I mean, that, I don't know, it's $3 million and a possible $20 million budget. I don't know if it's going to be able to do that. It's got definitely mixed reviews, so very weird. But yeah, so maybe, I don't know, I think it's going to continue to fall off. So in the end, I Love Boosters, I'm going to say flopped with $3 million. And it actually, surprisingly, came in 8th place. Okay, and the last movie is this strange corporate retreat, but an hour and a half exact, and rated R, so pretty interesting. It has 3.8 stars, which is maybe even more surprising. That's unfortunate. Yeah, I already ran over it in the last episode. Aaron Fisher is not the best. So I don't know. I think they need to find a new role for him. I mean, maybe he can just do something else that's better. The other thing is that, yeah, this Alan Ruck is the guy in it. I think he's the guy from the Ferris Bueller's Day Off, which is funny because I read that in the review. I wouldn't even Cameron Fry. I wouldn't have even that. So that's kind of interesting. 3.8 stars so far with 20 reviews. No AI summary. So maybe that kicks in at like 50 or 100 reviews or something like that. 20 reviews, 4 out of 10 stars. Healthcare for the Rest of Us. 1 out of 10, quite awful of a film. Let's see. So, Corporate Retreat had a concept that honestly sounded much more entertaining on paper than it actually turned out on screen. The story follows a former company owner putting the employees who fired him through a series of twisted challenges. Oh, okay. In an attempt to force them into his warped new ideology. It feels like the kind of setup that could have delivered tension. psychological mind games, and a fun survival thriller atmosphere if handled correctly. Unfortunately, the movie ends up playing everything far too safely. Every time the characters entered one of the challenges, it became painfully obvious who was going to fail or die next, based entirely on how this scene was structured. Instead of building suspense or unpredictability, the film becomes repetitive and formulaic, making it easy to guess each outcome before it even happens. The biggest issue overall is pacing and energy. The movie feels flat for long stretches and creates a surprisingly amount of fatigue while watching it. Rather than escalating tension or delivering shocking moments, it just slowly drifts from one predictable sequence to the next, while without ever fully grabbing the audience's attention. The concept had room to become something intense or psychologically engaging, but the execution never reaches that level. Even the thriller elements feel watered down because the film never truly pushes itself outside of basic storytelling beats. It stays confined within its comfort zone instead of taking creative risks or dividing deeper into the psychological side of revenge and corporate manipulation. That lack of ambition leaves the entire experience feeling smaller and less memorable than it should have been. Overall, Corporate Retreat is not completely terrible, but it is an extremely forgettable thriller that never capitalizes on its premise. Kind of like Boosters. I feel it feels like much more suited for streamers and theaters, which probably explains why so many people barely even knew the movie existed. Instead of becoming a more gripping survival thriller, it ends up feeling like background content you would watch once and immediately forget afterward. Again, they made a decision to make that into a movie. It's so crazy. They should make a cheap movie of it, and then if people like it, then they invest in it, to make a movie out of it or something like that. Because this is too much of an investment for a full movie, and then it bombs. Out of 10, Corporate Retreat is rated NR for a reason. I don't trust reviews where people trash a film with 1 or 2 star reviews after admitting they walked out after 30 minutes or less. I agree, because technically, you didn't see the movie. You actually don't know. You didn't see it. This falls into the torture horror category, though it does have some humor. Odeya Rush was excellent as Ginger. It may not be everyone's favorite, but I liked it even though it was disturbing. That's interesting. Let's see. 1 out of 10, generally the worst film I've ever seen. An awful movie with 0 redeeming qualities. It was never entertaining at any point. Extremely poor writing and even worse acting. Some movies are so bad they become funny, but not this one. To say it would be a waste of time to see it is an understatement. Everyone involved in the creation of this film should find a different career path. That's exactly what I said to the guy, whatever, Aaron, what his name is. 1 out of 10, sickening. 1 out of 10, waste of time. 1 out of 10, why is this movie even made? 1 out of 10. 5 out of 10. 1 out of 10. 1 out of 10. Yeah, this movie, I think it's well, what's lower than trash? The trash can itself, It's crazy. I guess technically, maybe a composting table, or a compost, the next form of trash, maybe. And the Rotten Tomatoes here have it at 31% from the critics. I like how on the cover it says a bloody good time. That might be true. I mean, think about that. Like, luckily they didn't say the best horror movie you're ever gonna see. Luckily they didn't do that. That's a good thing. I really, that's good. They just said a bloody good time, which is, from what I hear, it's really violent. So that's true. That's actually a true fact. A bloody good time. It could say a low-grossing horror film. That would be honest. You see, like a confusing, low-grossing horror film. That's true, If they put that on the cover of the poster, like a really bad horror film, wasted my time, everyone would be like, okay, well, at least they're honest, Next reviews. Simon Abrams from MondraEbert.com gave it 0 splats out of 4. He didn't even... Oh, it might be the worst movie of the year, not because it's unpleasant, cliched, and gory, too, but because its filmmakers seem to have as little regard for their audience as they do for their craft. Julian Roman from Movie Web gave it 2.5 out of 5 splats, or, sorry, tomatoes, whatever. Corporate Retreat relishes every second of its gruesome runtime and takes a degree of temerity to sit through. The practical visual effects, especially the use of hideously realistic prosthetics, hit a barbaric bullseye. Wait a minute. What? So that's a good thing? I'm so confused. The practical visual effects, especially the use of hideously realistic prosthetics. Oh, so it's like Terrifier. It's like a snuff film. Oh, okay. Terrifier is literally like, fake snuff or whatever you want to call it. But that is what this is sounding like. Yeah, like actual snuff-like violence. Carla Hay from Culture Mix gave it a splat, saying in corporate speak, Corporate Retreat is an epic fail of a horror movie. This idiotic flick about murder at a corporate retreat puts more priority on gross out gore than being scary. The acting is terrible, and there are pathetic attempts at comedy. Lee McCoy from Drum Dums gave it 3 out of 10 splats, saying if you like seeing the same gory trick repeated on 5 different people for 10 minutes at a time, have at it. What? So like a head, somebody, probably a machete to the head, right? But every stunt is the same, and meaning that they only could do one stunt, or they invested in one type of stunt or something. Jeffrey M. Anderson from Common Sense Media gave it 1 out of 5 splats, saying this bloody thriller plays a little like The Menu, but much dumber, much gorier, and without the gorgeous food. Rather, it's lots of arguing between empty-headed characters as the kill count rises. All right, well, that's good. And then audience reviews, Chad C. gave it 1 or half a star, saying, "Dear Lord, what the hell that is watch." Jason gave it 3 stars, saying this was a fun and unsettling film for what it was. It was never supposed to be an Oscar winner. To me, the bad acting helped. That's funny. Okay, well, that's probably good. In the end, Corporate Retreat looks like it's actually really bad. Not like, it might be bad, but like it is actually bad. So that's pretty funny. But I think it definitely flopped. It's definitely not going to turn out well. The company, the studios need to have a nice big meeting with Aaron Fisher and to discuss the future of what he's going to do at the company, at the Corporate Retreat. Wow. Would it be funny if, like amongst the elites, the filmmakers, maybe they do the same premise of this movie. Maybe that's why the guy did it, and they're making fun of it because now they're going to take him to a corporate retreat and they're going to kill him for making a bad movie about them. I don't know. But yeah, unfortunately, this film flopped with $300,000. I forgot, whatever it said, $300,000. And then worldwide under $1 million. That's hilarious. But it did actually surprisingly come in 13th place. All right, so the Mandalorian Grogu popped with $102 million domestic. And then worldwide, it made $165 million. That is really awesome. It has a 7.1 star. It seems to be liked on both the critics and the audience side. I think the reality is that it really just doesn't have a story or any of that. It is very thin. It looks like Star Wars. It's all that stuff. I think this movie's success or whatever is going to determine the future in a way. If they're going to do another season of this show, or they're going to do Mandalorian Grogu 2, that'll be pretty interesting. People are, I guess, sort of liking it. A fun, if safe, return to the form for live-action Star Wars. Strong visuals and Grogu charm can't fully hide the thin story. Very weird. Overall, people are all having fun with it. I think that basically, if you're a fan of this stuff and you want deeper stuff, I think this series is not for you anymore. It seems like they've made a big choice with, to prioritize the old fans or to go for new fans or whatever, new audience people. So we'll see. We'll also see if next weekend, if it can make another 100, it'll be at 200 or something. We'll see. I think that, it's going to be switching off who's going to see it. I think that the people who want to go see it, who thought there was going to be more depth to it, are going to decide to not go. And then everybody who says or is hearing that this is more for kids are going to end up taking their kids instead. So yeah, anyway, the Mandalorian Grogu popped with $100 million domestic and $165 million worldwide, and it amazingly came in first place. Passenger, I think, technically flopped. I don't think it can make up another. It might, but it might be tight. Might be a tough one. It did place sixth place, so that's good. If the budget is really $15 to $25 million, and it can make like another 8 next weekend, or hopefully a little bit more, maybe 12 million, it could get closer to that. And then basically rely on VOD later on to make up the rest. But they're definitely probably going to leave this there for the full 4 weeks, over a month, just to maximize it. Unless this drops because of the newly released Obsession, which is absolutely just, doing well. And it's actually going to make the same amount, if not more, or double the next weekend, which all of these movies really need to do that as well to be successful. This movie is definitely a little bit mixed. It seems like people kind of like it, but yeah, we'll see in the second weekend if people go back to see this over Obsession, which I highly doubt. Yeah, we'll see. But yeah, so this Passenger definitely flopped with $8 million, but surprisingly came in 6th place. I Love Boosters, I guess flopped as well. This is by Boots Riley. I'm not familiar with him. It's got a nice cast. It looks very entertaining. Some people are definitely mixed on it. It seems like it's a little bit too hectic, which, I don't know. Megalopolis was pretty hilariously kind of entertaining, and then Everything Everywhere All at Once was extremely entertaining, and I'm seeing that some people are comparing the two of those films, so yeah, this I think could turn out well. It did make $3 million out of a possible $20 million budget. This might struggle, just like Passenger. I don't know if it's going to be able to do that. This would definitely be there for the full month to maximize the chances of making up the $20 million, which it could. Maybe word of mouth does benefit this film and gets everybody in there in the second weekend, and this could make closer to the $20 million and get it closer to that budget. But so far, I Love Boosters flopped with $3 million, but actually did come in 8th place. Brit Retreat didn't do well at all. I feel bad for Aaron Fisher. He's not having a good cinema or filmmaking run, I guess. This flopped with $290, I think like $300,000 or whatever it said. Worldwide gross was under $1 million, which is kind of funny that it did better overseas. I guess I don't know. People are saying it's one of the worst movies I've ever seen in the theaters. They're saying it has terrible dialogue, bad acting, and pointless gore. Alan Ruck is the only good thing there. Somebody walked out after 30 minutes. Painful to watch. Extremely boring and poorly made. It's definitely not liked anywhere on Rotten Tomatoes on both sides. It has no audience popcorn score at all, actually. So who knows what's next for Aaron Fisher? He did act in a movie, but that movie got like 3 stars, so we don't know how his performance was. So maybe Aaron Fisher is a better actor than writer or director. There's another movie he's coming out with, so I think he's definitely not done wasting money. So yeah, Corporate Retreat flopped with $300,000 and actually came in 13th place. Okay, and then now these are the next movies that we'll be checking out in the next show. Finally, it's here. A24's Back Rooms. That is going to be so insane. I was actually watching a little bit of an explanation video talking about the back rooms and all the sci-fi stuff and whatever. So I'm prepared for this, as well as being a newly recruited A24 fan. We will also be checking out The Breadwinner from Sony Pictures. That's going to be interesting. And then Pressure from Focus Features. So maybe, these probably Pressure, I don't know if it's going to do well. And then The Breadwinner, we'll see. A24 financially will probably do well, as well as them picking Backrooms as their next film that has a very big following behind it. You know, like, that is so cool. That's so great that, you know, they're like, you know, A24's formula is literally not a bad idea plus low budget equals not a bad ROI, right? Something along those lines. And I don't know why A24 is the only one that understands that. You know, just make a cheap movie, you know? Make a cheap movie so when you make $300,000, it's a profit, you know? Make a movie for $100,000. So when it flops it makes $300,000, at least, hey, you made $2,000. You know what I mean? I don't know. I think that's like a better method. I'm not sure. And then these are the other ones that are not coming out. Oh, look, F-Toys. How do they have that as a movie title? What in the world? Power Ballad with his name, Harry Styles and Paul Rudd? I don't know. That's interesting. So we'll just be doing those 3 movies. Eventually, look at what's coming. Masters of the Universe and Scary Movie 6. What, next week? Oh my god. That's so... Oh yeah, there. Power Ballad expands wide. So yeah, get your early reviews in now. So pretty cool. And then Disclosure Day. That's gonna be interesting. A Spielberg, a sci-fi movie. The Amazing Digital Circus, The Last Act. I don't know what that is. So these are the 3 films we'll be checking out in the next episode. And that wraps up this episode of Mike on Mike. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Thank you to thenumbers.com, Rotten Tomatoes, and imdb.com. Leave a comment down below about what you thought, and I will see you in the next episode. Peace.